7 o'clock. I'd like to call the meeting of the Planning Commission to order for today, May 20th. Everybody sitting here? If you're willing and able, please stand and join us for reciting the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much, everybody, for coming tonight. Commissioners, in front of you have an agenda for this evening. Any comments, changes, or corrections to tonight's agenda? Yes,
Question?
yes.
14B,
Yes.
data center.
Yes.
I did not see battery energy storage systems in that document.
I'll be making a comment to that later.
Okay.
We'll be referring to our April document.
Okay.
Any other comments, corrections, suggestions for the agenda? Move to approve, right?
Second.
Second, discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Who was the second?
Joy. Thank you, team. Next are my remarks for this evening, and I've got a couple. First, and importantly, as we go through our public hearings tonight, please show respect for those people who are at the microphone or the commissioners who are speaking by not cheering, clapping, or whistling. This is a public hearing, and just like any other public body, we appreciate the consideration you have for those who are having their time speaking or talking. Thank you. I have nothing else. So we'll move on to approval of our minutes from April 22nd.
Sorry.
Also, please silence phones.
Sorry.
Forgot to mention that. Commissioners, we have the April 22nd agenda. Any additions or corrections to the April agenda? Or minutes? Sorry, I've been sort of distracted today. Oh, you're not on it? Please speak up, Martha asked us earlier this evening. No corrections? Okay, may I have a motion to approve the minutes as submitted for April 22nd?
So moved.
Second. Discussion? Minutes from April 22nd are approved as submitted. Oh, we got to vote. Yeah. Rick? Yeah. Aye. Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Minutes are approved. We now have public comment. I would ask this with the public comment. If you're commenting now and plan to speak at the public hearing portion, please save comments for the public hearing portion at the public hearing portion. If you have other comments you'd like to submit, please stand up and speak now. You can also make them at the end of the meeting now.
Peter Stevens, 7500 Trotters Lane. First, yes, I was hungry. I ordered pizza. It's for anybody that wants some, audience or committee. You're going to be discussing old business, accessory use, and structures later on this evening. I've had some conversations with board members about an idea that is kind of going to fit into here. I've discussed it with Shri as well, but it does seem like there's board support. And basically what it is hopefully with this draft, you guys will accept some kind of standard that would allow direct family members to live in an accessory use structure, either attached or detached. What I've discussed with board members and with Shri is some kind of deeded rider to the effect right now where it states that there will be no dwelling done in the accessory dwelling, but this new rider hopefully would be something along the lines of a deeded rider that says this accessory use is allowed as dwelling, but only for direct family and never used as rental. I understand with this amendment and with the current language in the ordinance that one of the big things you're trying to avoid is short-term or even long-term rentals, especially on the lakes. Airbnbs have been a nuisance to people that live on lakes year-round, and I even understand that for even smaller private properties in the more interior parts of the township. But again, what I do believe that this amendment will hopefully do is just allow families more, I guess, just more freedom in how they choose to live with each other. I know I've expressed to you before my support for multi-generational living, and I believe that this is also something that would support it. So in speaking about this amendment later, I just hope that you will all enter that discussion with support in mind to open it up for people. Thank you.
Would anybody else like to speak at this time? One other reminder, if you do plan to speak at any point, please make sure you signed in back so we have your name and address for the public record. Seeing as how there are no other public comments at this time, we'll move on to the Township Planner and Zoning Report. Sri?
So I'm just trying to figure out the technical issues.
It's a technical issue.
Trying to
We have
figure out
comments.
the data center thing, how that got messed up.
That's okay. We'll work through it.
So I think it's, I think nothing very interesting to report. We had the typical meetings. Oh, the only one thing that I wanted to talk about was I did leave a letter that I emailed to Dexter Historical Society in your mailboxes. As an FYI, it was pretty much the summary of the meeting I had on April 22nd with the Historical Society folks. So that's just an FYI addendum to the staff report. Just a little bit of context of what Peter was talking about. When he and I met, we were mostly talking about the temporary structure permit section, where it allows for a home that can be wheeled off the property once the need is no longer there, but that is the only place in the zoning ordinance that allows for another temporary dwelling for somebody who is either financially or mentally, emotionally dependent on the person. What Peter was thinking is that maybe have an allowance for a more permanent structure under that temporary structure ordinance that can stay but not be wheeled off with an affidavit like we are considering for allowing sleeping in the current accessory structure amendment. So that's the context of that comment. I think other than that, if there are any specific questions you have from the report, I'm happy to answer.
Anybody? Questions for Sri? Thank you. We have the Farmland and Open Preservation Report. But I don't know that there's anything in there for us to review. It is as it is. Zoning enforcement. Did I miss that? We don't have one this month? I didn't see one either, but we don't have any report this month. I guess the zoning report is.
No, I think Chuck was out of office the day packets were sent out, so yes, one couldn't make it in time.
Gotcha. Jeff, anything you want to highlight from last night's meeting? Sort of short order.
Well, I handed out the draft minutes. Didn't really want to talk much about last night's meeting. Just a couple things of note. One of the things, there was a change for the ZBA attorney requirement. That is now.
Isn't that postponed?
Was it postponed?
Yeah, because we have to do it in a resolution form.
No, you're right. There was a lot of discussion about that. Seems like most of the board is in favor of moving that to the chair requesting if they need an attorney, deciding that. And getting away from essentially having them at every meeting. And the other thing was the amendment to the zoning ordinance for compliance permits procedure that was postponed. Revisions are supposed to be made and brought to the next meeting.
And the board's making those decisions? Or
Yes.
changes? Okay.
Yes.
Any questions for our board representative? Comments?
I was at there's also a lot of discussion about lakes, the lake chemicals that we put in, but
Yes.
there are several citizens.
In public comment, there was.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's right. There are several citizens concerned about chemicals being put in a couple lakes in the township. We wanted to know if we could township help prevent that. Then Sue Shrink
Sue Shane
was here and
spoke.
spoke also about what's going on in Lansing on some topics.
Do you happen to know if we have anything to do with chemicals?
We do not.
Okay.
It sounds like it's the yearly treatment of the lake, and I don't know if it's specifically for water plants or if it's for swimmer's itch. I have no idea which it's for.
Sounds good. Thanks, Jeff. CBA report. I don't have anything. Was there a CBA report? No report. I didn't see a PDR report, except for the one that we referenced earlier. I assume therefore there's nothing to report on this PDR report. Does anybody know anything about it?
It's in there.
Right, but,
Page 11.
right, but it's nothing to report on the report.
Right.
Okay, anything on the natural features committee?
Two things. We're very excited after working for over a year on creating content for a natural features information page on the township website. Shelley from our committee is working with Elena, who's uploading all that into the current website, but unpublished, because the website is getting upgraded, but they're doing an initial start with uploading that so that it can be part of the whole upgrade. So very exciting for us. And then our annual report, which we also did a few other activities, is in the board packet from last night on pages 72 through 74, if you're interested.
Thank you. Any questions for Kay? Seeing none, we'll open our first public hearing of the evening concerning section 12.110, small solar energy systems, which is 26 ZTA-01, pages 13 through 25 in our packets. Sri, is there anything you want to comment on regarding that before we open the public hearing? Have the residents come up and speak.
I think this one was started because we received a ZBA variance at the ZBA meeting, and then that just prompted many questions. And with regards, it actually prompted the question whether any variance from the screening requirements, should they go to ZBA, or would it be more appropriate to bring them to the planning commission? So when the amendment was started, the intent was to clarify the approving body for the screening deviations. And then it kind of took its own little form, and then we have heard from comments from the residents from both sides with regards to screening, and the planning commission has postponed their discussion until after the public hearing to determine whether one, what kind of screening requirements will be required, and then two, who will be the approving body for deviation. So the draft that's in the packet hasn't been discussed in great detail like the PC usually does. I think the discussion was deferred until after public hearing.
Thank you. For any of you who plan to speak about small solar systems, and this is not the large ones that are just the MTL 194, please come to the microphone at this time. Please hold your comments to something relatively reasonable. We say 3 minutes, but I don't gavel people down that way.
Small, medium, residential.
Could be residential. So would anybody like to add some comments at this time? Please state your name.
Peter Stevens, 7500 Travers Lane. I know I've offered these comments before in this discussion about smaller solar systems. The master plan, which I know the Planning Commission points to for a great many of its decisions, simply states that solar power should be encouraged basically in every way in Webster Township as a green energy source, as a clean energy source, and as a way for people to save money. If you look at how solar systems work, screening requirements, putting up trees or barriers to them so that people can't see them from the road while they're driving or walking, does two things. One, it potentially detracts from the efficiency of the system. People that are putting in a small solar system are doing so to try and save themselves some money. They're trying to be environmentally sound and reasonable. And those are the things that we should encourage. If we want those systems to work well, we need to offer people as much flexibility in that as possible. And with that in mind, I've stated before, I think the screening requirements should be struck and should be something that the township has to make a case for if it's something that is deemed an actual issue for someone's home nearby, like lights flashing in their windows. Show cause instead of putting the impetus on someone and potentially ruining the efficiency of their system. The second thing that this screening requirement does is just opens this up to the idea of who thinks that it's not okay to see these versus who does. This is just going to be an aesthetic opinion, and I do not believe that legislation should be done that way. I've had many discussions with people who have told me that they don't like the look of solar panels and they don't want to have to see them when they're driving by. Pat Schloss and I have both said, don't look at them. Look at the road if you're driving. If you're walking a dog along the road and you don't want to look at those ugly solar panels, don't look at them. I've had residents that I've spoken to who have said, yeah, they're ugly. But we shouldn't be telling people what they're doing on their property in the name of their finances and environmentally sound practices. I believe that these screening requirements should be reduced or eliminated, and the Planning Commission should do what it has stated it does. Try and live within the bounds of the master plan as best as possible, and encourage and allow solar panels and solar energy, for that matter, in Webster Township as much as you can. Thank you.
Anybody else? Connie, yeah, well, you know how to do this. You've done it before. In your packet is Connie's letter that she sent to us. Apparently now she's going to speak to that letter. Assuming we can't read, but we can hear.
Hello.
Who are you?
Connie Stavender, 5803 Vaughan Road. I'm a Webster Township resident, and I submitted a written letter to the commission yesterday. I want to be clear that I support solar energy as a legitimate and valuable use of private property.
Just speak up, Connie.
Yes. So I want to be clear that I support solar energy as a legitimate and valuable use of private property. I also support the draft ordinance and the screening requirement. I have two specific refinements to suggest and one broader point to make. Here's the broader point. The 2019 Master Plan Survey went to every household with summer tax bills. It received 583 responses. 93% said they support preserving farms and farmland. 95% said they support preserving open space and natural areas. Some of those 583 residents are in this room tonight. Many are not. The people who did not come tonight are no less real. The screening requirement serves the values that survey documented. Removing it does not. The first refinement is about road visibility. The draft ordinance requires screening from abutting properties. The March 18th commentary, specifically note CA8, states that visibility from roads is irrelevant because abutting properties cover all sides. Respectfully, I ask the Commission to consider the zoning ordinance's own definition of abutting. The ordinance defines abutting as having a common border with or being separated from such a common border by a right-of-way. Under that definition, a road right-of-way makes the properties on either side abutting to each other. Road visibility may already be within the meaning of abutting as the ordinance defines it. I ask the Commission to address road frontage explicitly in the screening requirement and in the glare provision. The second requirement is simple. The screening requirement should specify year-round vegetation and reference coniferous options. A deciduous hedge satisfies the current language in July. It provides snow screening in January. Webster Township's rural character needs to be protected in all seasons, not just when the leaves are on. So in conclusion, I have submitted a written letter with the full discussion of my 3 minutes here and the master plan citations. The Commission has worked carefully on this draft for 6 months. The screening requirement reflects the values of this community. I ask the Commission to honor those values and to consider the 2 specific refinements I have outlined tonight. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioners, also in your packet is a letter from Pat Sloss. So please take a moment and read that. We won't go through it fully tonight. But if you have any questions, Pat's not here, so. But we do have that on record. Is there anybody else who would like to come to the microphone now and talk about small solar? Seeing none, the public hearing on section 12.110 on small solar energy is closed. We now move on to a temporary moratorium for data centers and battery storage systems, which is 26 ZTA 03. The document that was in your packet is the earlier version. The one we should be referencing tonight was from April. So hopefully you guys kept your April packets and can reference that document. Although this is a public hearing, we won't be going through it, so.
Yeah, which page in that?
51.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to open the public hearing for the temporary moratorium on data centers. If you've been watching the news, this is in the news all over the place. Again, if you haven't put your name and phone number and contact information on the tablet, please do so before you speak. Please keep your comments germane to the topic. Would anybody like to speak to whoops?
I will. But I didn't put my name.
Okay. I'll give you a little background, although you might not know. What this moratorium does is allow the Planning Commission to have working time to create an ordinance that would hopefully create a situation where we might not have people consider Webster Township for data centers or battery storage systems. If any of you have taken an opportunity to drive past the one in Saline, that's quite impressive. However, as we've talked about in this meeting before, if any of you have driven to Southfield, there's also one that looks like an office building. And if you didn't know it was there, you would never know it was there. That being the case, it's not necessarily something that looks like an airport. So please keep that in mind when we're talking about it. And again, remember, this moratorium, if enacted, only gives us working time to create an ordinance and have a public hearing.
from Webster Township. Last night at the board meeting, I made some comments about the battery storage systems and the reasons why I thought they are quite manageable to handle within the capabilities of the Planning Commission today, as opposed to a moratorium. And so just to recap a little bit of that, battery systems don't take hardly any power, don't take hardly any water, don't take hardly any land. So they aren't anywhere near the kind of impact that data centers have on a community. I completely agree with the data center moratorium, as you said. There's quite an impact from the saline system. The couple things that people need to be aware of on data centers, screening, like we just talked about for small solar, you need to have some kind of screening to keep the rural character of Webster Township to prevent it being seen. Looks like kind of like a parking, public storage buildings, basically, that kind of facility. Set up 20 containers or something like that is all it really is. They make a little bit of noise, so they have to have appropriate setbacks. That's also kind of manageable within any normal permitting guidelines. One concern that people have is about fire, because these are lithium-ion batteries or lithium iron phosphate batteries, which are much more stable than lithium-ion. But there was a big fire several years ago on the largest battery plant in California, in the country. And that technology is not the technology that's used today. The lessons that happened in that fire were incorporated into designs today. So the NFPA codes cover these containers. And basically what they do is if one of those batteries catches on fire, it just burns inside the container until it burns out. You don't have to actively respond to that container. I think Commissioner Goodman, maybe you have a fire protection background, so I'm sure you can dig into that further. See, we have Dexter Fire Department too, so you guys can follow up on that as you wish, but it's quite manageable today. Obviously, batteries are going in all over Michigan now and all over the country, so we have a good opportunity, if somebody were to come forward, have an opportunity to take advantage of that. The other thing I commented was that basically batteries are paired with solar, large-scale solar and small solar. So anytime you say we've got a moratorium on batteries, you're kind of chilling anybody that might consider coming to Webster Township for a solar project, because they're going to want to have batteries paired with that. That takes care of all the diurnal solar coming and going day and night. The other comment is that the State Public Act 233 covers battery systems, and so that defines some minimum standards right there already. And as I understand it from the MPSC website, if you put in a moratorium, then you're in conflict with PA 233, and anybody that wants to do a battery system can bypass us and go straight to the MPSC for approval. So, whereas in data centers, moratoriums can stand because there is no state law that would supersede that. On battery systems, you're in conflict with the state law, so I don't really know what your considerations were on that. Also say batteries are a great way to save money on all of our electric bills, because you're capturing that cheap energy at night and using it by day, so that all comes back to you as a rebate, and me as a rebate in our electricity bills, so that's a great option. In the end, you know, the LaFontaine parking lot that you guys worked through the permitting on that and approved that, it's basically the same thing as that, right? About the same size, it has screening, has setbacks. The only thing is batteries would be about 100 times bigger on the tax base. So if we got maximum value out of that land, we could have had a lot better tax revenue from that small land piece going to our community here. So I got a little confused about when the batteries got added to this moratorium discussion and the agendas. I do keep up with the agendas to the extent I can. And so I was surprised to see that batteries were added. I've been following battery situations for several years, as a mechanical engineer, and so that's why I was surprised and wanted to make a comment today that I didn't think that was an appropriate direction for us to go. It seems to dilute the whole effort on protecting against a data center, right? Because now you've added another thing in there, and I understand that if you're too many barriers in planning, then you lose your ability to stop everything, right? So nobody wants that. So I'm happy to help with any other information or feedback. Michigan State's got great resources on this subject, and thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else would like to speak at this time? This is your chance.
I guess I will.
Good. That's what public hearings are for, to hear from the public.
Yeah, well, I'm the public. Thank you. My name's Rob Armbruster. I live at 6841 North Meadows Way. I'm here to speak about the moratorium and the data centers possibly coming into our community. Back in January, I submitted a YouTube video produced by an Eric Meldrum, Part 2, which has been posted on comment up on the Webster Township, Michigan Facebook page. That particular video goes through and discusses things about the is it Saline Township data center that went in, and one up in Howell area, and another one being proposed in Ypsilanti. Those particular two locations, the one in Saline Township, was unfortunately taken and kind of brushed aside because of the way that the township, Saline Township, actually had their industrial I'm trying to think of the word. The way that they have everything set up in their maps for zoning. The industrial that they had was set up so that any data center could come in and say, look, we want to bring in some industrial. The Webster Township has industrial, but it's labeled as light industrial. So in Saline Township, they had to fight, and they basically lost because they already had industrial zoning in their township. And the council for Saline Township basically told them that they're going to lose because by law it's called exclusionary, and you can't exclude one industry from another industry that's already been set up in their zoning. So the problem is that I think that was more of a lead-in to allowing the data center to grab hold and come in. Howell is set up a little differently. They did have a 6-month moratorium, I believe, for them. I'm not sure how that's going. But some of my comments with regards to data centers can be extremely huge. The problem with infrastructure, right now, if you go out and you take a look at this video, you'll get a lot of good explanation as to what's going on with data centers. The data centers are being flooded across the state by multiple different companies. And if they throw one out and it sticks, they're going to build it. And the reason that they're building all of these is because of money. They want to make money on them. And they want to be able to come in and have some place easy to build these things. And if things go in real easy for tax exemptions and everything else, then they're going to come in. One of my suggestions was, why don't they build them over there in Detroit at some of the old factory plant area locations? Well, that costs too much money, and money is what's driving all of this. So the other thing is, when these companies come in and they build these data centers, they have to get water from someplace because these computer systems require cooling. Now, you're not going to fan cool thousands and thousands of computers inside of a building, so they have to be water cooled. That's why they use so much water. The water's got to come from someplace, and where do you think it comes from? Well, if it's not a local area river, or if it's not a well system someplace that is already established by the city municipal portion, they're going to have to draw it from someplace else. And if they have to draw it from someplace else, it's going to be a new well dug in that location, and it's going to help suck down the aquifer for surrounding community that's been established there for many years. The problem is they suck the water out of the ground, and then they cool the equipment. The water runs through all the piping and plastics and everything else, along with their treatment of chemicals in the water to keep anything inside the computer systems from getting algae built up into them. They have to treat it with chemicals. The problem is where those chemicals go once they're done cooling the systems. Well, if they're going to recycle it, it goes back down into the ground, or it gets discharged into the river. Your river is one example. If they get around here someplace, you're going to have to discharge it someplace. So the problem is the water supplies in the ground and the river, they suck it out and then they put it back in. And even if it goes back into municipal treatment plants are not set up to clean out chemicals. They're out there for cleaning out organics and sewage and everything else, not chemicals. So the light industrial zoning that we have over by Joy Road area, over by the party store and the cider mill and all of that, I think that's zoned light industrial. I would like the board to consider any other means of keeping out any other heavy industrial, or even having that rezoned for industrial for a data center, although I don't think there's a whole lot of room over in that area. But you need to take a look at the video that I submitted, and you have to understand what's going on with these data centers. The other thing is the noise that they produce from the fan cooling systems and everything else for the air conditioning inside the building and all the pumping and everything else. That noise is much louder than you think it will be. We're not talking about an air conditioning system up on top of a roof of a two-story building. It's extremely loud, it carries in the wind, it's a low humming noise, and it makes everybody's life difficult to live with it during the summertime when you're outside, because you'll have this low humming noise from all of these fans and everything running to support this building structure. So I'm hoping that the board can go through and take good use of the one-year moratorium on the data centers and review how they have their zoning set up, and then go through and come up with something to keep these places out of this township, because I've been here for 15 years and I do not want a data center in this area. It's not conducive to the living style of all these communities around us, and I think it's just something that's nothing more than greed, and it needs to be put down in an area like this where it's 90% agricultural and I think residential. And I think what we should do is, work our best to put a stop to it. Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to make a comment on data centers and battery storage systems? Oops. You couldn't do it in 3 minutes?
Just a small addendum. Like the gentleman just discussed, the noise pollution is something I've paid a lot of attention to in data centers. I know as far as zoning and placement of these, township boards and governments are going to have a hard time combating, like this gentleman said, the large amounts of money that come with these data centers. The best we can do is mitigate them to the best of our abilities. But addendum to his, there has been some studies done of these data centers as they become a much more hot topic. It's been shown that among the many things causing noise pollution are the cooling equipment, the server and fan arrays, and backup diesel generators, which are almost always running for these facilities to ensure continual power throughout them. Studies have shown that these low-frequency hums from all of these noise sources are sometimes constant and just below the 20 megahertz level where you can't really hear it. But what it is doing is showing a noticeable change in people's health. People are experiencing vertigo, people are experiencing headache and nausea, anywhere from within 400 to 1,000 feet of these data centers. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing portion on item 14B, temporary moratorium on data centers. Commissioners, we can, as a next step, move this forward tonight. The draft that we had some BESS and battery storage language put in it. That doesn't mean we would lump it all together as we look at it. So, but due diligence on our part, that's why we included it on both the districts.
I just wanted to make a point of clarification. One of the comments we received about battery energy storage systems. This one, the moratorium applies to battery energy storage systems that are standalone. If it's a battery BESS associated with the accessory solar system, the small scale solar system within, for residential use, that is permitted as part of the small scale solar system, as part of the ordinance that
Right,
we're
but we're not.
considering. And then with regards to the conflict with the PA 233 state law, we have the threshold at 50 megawatt. So this moratorium, what that state law says, if it's under 50 megawatts, then the local townships have authority to regulate it. If it's over 50 megawatts, then there are a couple of options. At that point, moratorium or no moratorium, they can always go straight to state. So the moratorium is not conflicting with that. This only applies to BESs less than the state threshold.
Thank you. Yeah, if anybody read our packet, that is in the packet and discusses that 50 megawatt threshold. Commissioners, I am of the opinion that we could move this moratorium forward tonight. Is there anybody else that has a comment or would like to discuss it? And again, we're referring to the draft from our April meeting.
I agree, we move this amendment forward.
That being the case, may I have a motion? It would be a regular meeting of the township. But we need a motion for our discussion, the PC discussion, to move to the board.
In the matter of tax amendment 26 BCA 03, I recommend that the township planning commission adopt the proposed amendment to the township zoning ordinance by adding new section 12.120 to article 12 to establish a temporary moratorium on data center and battery energy system storage systems.
That was on page 28.
Yeah.
28
My son Chris.
of our current roughly equal.
I'll second that.
Discussion? Vote, Kay?
Aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Motion carries.
Just to take care of the confusion, I would probably recommend the board to publish the notice when
Yes.
of the meeting, just so people have access to that.
Would you say that so we can record it?
Oh, I was just saying that when the board takes up this item on their agenda, I would recommend that the board publish that meeting in paper so that people have access to the document that's.
Thank you.
Who seconded that? Hold it.
It's a, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any way that can be expedited to the very next meeting? Make sure it gets in the next board meeting, how that can happen?
I'm sure it can be. I'm sure it can be on the agenda, let me say that.
Please.
Sure.
Thank you.
Did we skip solar discussion?
No. Moving on to old business. I'm sorry.
So Sri is correct, that is an action item at the public hearing. You need to do something with small solar.
I was under the impression we were not.
So we could make a motion to talk about it next time. I
Oh,
think we have to
yes,
say
yes,
something.
yes, sorry.
Right, because it is,
Sorry, my brain
yeah, there
is
has to be a motion.
Yeah.
Right,
Why are
Sorry.
we not?
pardon me?
I'm just trying to get notes like, why is the discussion being postponed?
Because we're not sure we can move it forward in time for you to be involved.
Oh, okay. It's just, the motion needs to state the reason why it's not being motioned, so. You might just say if you need more time for, to review it.
I can help out with this. You're talking about small solar.
Yes.
And I would say that the reason is that we need more time to review the current draft as it relates to public comment.
Yeah.
Fine. Would somebody like to make that motion?
Yes, ma'am.
Second.
Could you say it again, please? Sorry.
Yes, she needs it for.
We're writing down.
I move to postpone the further conversation on small solar based on more time to review the draft as written, as it relates to public comment and verbal comment and public written comment. How's that?
Can you repeat the last part?
As it relates to public verbal comment and public written comment, or written submission.
Okay, do you have it too?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you for
so we have a motion.
And I seconded.
Julie seconded. Discussion? Vote?
Aye.
Okay.
Aye.
Aye.
I,
Aye. Thank you. Sorry about that, my brain's been on other things today. Okay, now moving on to old business. Accessory uses and structures, page 33 through 35, or 35 through 45. There were comments made at our last meeting that included some lawyer comments. It's now back to us for review with those comments included. Commissioners, have you had a chance to look at it with regard to those comments? There were only a few. Let's just go through page by page, not line by line, so we can see if there are any comments on any particular pages. So looking at page 39 through 49, the change on there was in paragraph C. It's a principal dwelling, building, or use. Anything else on that page that we missed? Seeing none, something that, we had talked on page 40 about the Route Breezeway, and that was something that Rick wanted clarification on, which is why we included it there. Anything on that page? Then moving on to page 41, 49, and I had just a question and circled it. It's under prohibited uses B. Area was in red and struck, but what happened there? Because
Makes no sense now.
yeah, now it doesn't make any sense.
If you take out the A, it makes sense.
Here in B, it says the zoning administrator may permit use or a part of all the attached accessory structures solely for the purpose of a sleeping.
So is it for the purpose of sleeping?
Yeah, for purpose of sleeping.
For sleeping for the owner's family.
It's got a strike A.
So we're striking A. And area, correct?
Yep.
Okay. And then to the following standards, and I have little strange red marks on mine after to the following standards. I don't know if they're supposed to be there or if they're just left over.
That means the comma has been deleted.
My eyesight isn't that good anymore. I can't.
I can see it.
I just thought it was a red mark on the paper. Okay, it's been deleted. Thank you. And that's even with bifold. Hey, that's an admission. You know, I don't have. Anything else on page 41, except for what we did under section B? Seeing none, move on to page 42. Apparently no comments came back from the lawyers on that page. Anything to comment there?
There were a few comments, but then you guys accepted it at the last meeting.
Right,
But
but
yeah,
nothing since then.
nothing.
Right. Then we've gone through the chart on page 43. There was some clarification on number 3 with the fences and sections, and they're now referenced. We had dealt with hunting lines. Anything else? Yes, sir.
So I had a meeting with the building official from Washington County. She, the building department director at Washington County, she brought by the new building official to meet with me, and then I had a chance to go over with the amendments we are doing with the building official as well, giving him, high points. And then we talked about detached accessory structures and what would require a permit or not a permit. Because many of the residents have asked me, what if it's a big greenhouse, it's a detached structure, or that, it could be portable, temporary. So we talked about that a little bit, showed him what we're doing and the definition, and he thought that was all good. He did raise a point, how would you treat a park structure, a play structure for kids?
Well, we know that if something is not mentioned in our ordinances, that it's not enforced. We're silent on it.
No, I don't think that's as simple, but I thought if you want to just keep it clear, maybe we add that to 15 that says, we don't regulate it. Because it's a no and no there.
Oh, that's team. Anybody? We're not.
Just so, if, once anybody in the seat looking at it, they say, oh, it's a play structure, sure.
Has
go ahead.
anybody come to the ZBA with a play structure issue? A play structure. I don't know that anybody's ever brought it up ever.
He only told me that because he went to court on that issue when he built one for his kids where he lives.
Well, that's his fault.
And then he won. So based on his experience, he suggested you may just want to add it so that, it's clear.
We want to add, so what's the correct, residential play structures? As
Yeah.
opposed to other kinds of play structures?
In 15.
On 15A.
Where it says we just
Kids
don't
play
regulate
structure,
it,
yeah.
no permit,
No permit.
no regulation, that's what it says.
I'm going to play devil's advocate here. Are you going to have people show up to you, to any office to go, I want to put in a sandbox in my backyard, and the answer is, I think that's onerous for somebody who wants to put a play structure in their backyard. No place I've ever lived has that ever been an issue, ever, and I've moved 5 times.
I think that's exactly what we're trying to say, that we don't have an issue, we're just making it more explicit. Just to avoid, but that's where it came from. I mean, sometimes I don't like when my neighbor's trampoline is too close to my yard. But,
Does anybody want to add
But
the
that's a
residential
temporary
structure?
structure.
but it's there,
I know.
yeah,
Residential play structures, we're gonna add it in there?
I would rather leave it out.
okay,
I just don't want to add something this late,
okay.
Yeah.
just because.
I'm
We're not
sure-
regulating it, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I think it's
Silent.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Page 44.
Didn't see tree houses either.
Yeah.
That falls under hunting point.
Kids, play houses.
I've got really nice pictures of a hunting blind. My nephew wants to build ones. Not here. We added the permit exemption verification request up under O. I didn't find anything in P that needed revision after our last set of revisions there. Our lot requirements, we had added physically separated.
Yep.
Anything else in there? I didn't see anything else. Under our definitions, we were good on that page, but on page 45, under lodging and portable structures, we had struck some language. Everybody okay with those strikes?
We struck examples, pretty much.
Right. That's it as far as I had in my notes from our last meeting. Anybody else have anything that I missed? Julie, any comments?
I should see him.
Okay. You got bifocal too? No?
I can't contact her and readers on, so,
Okay,
yeah.
so
I
we're
do.
good. That's how you can see those little red dots.
Mhm.
May I have a motion then?
I have a motion from page 37.
Good.
In the matter of text amendment 23 ZTA 01, this motion is to recommend the Township Board for adoption of the proposed amendment to sections 2.10, 13.15, and 13.8 of the Webster Township zoning ordinance. This motion is based on the draft as presented along with the few changes discussed at the meeting.
May I have a second?
Second.
Beat Paul. Discussion?
Yeah, I would say so. So regarding the public comment on accessory structures, this amendment has been in front of us for a long time. It's been sitting for a long time, ready for approval. At this time, to add something, as was requested by the public, would postpone the approval of this amendment months, possibly a year. So I think it's well right what we did, send it forward as is with the changes made.
I'm going to follow with this, and just for the public's edification. Anytime an ordinance is written, that doesn't mean that it can't be changed or updated. It just means that it's there for some time. And that's one of the ways that this body finds things, not that we need to find things to do, we got plenty to do. But that will come before us, and either through, you heard me mention to our zoning board of appeals representative, if we get enough comments through the zoning board of appeals for issues, or our planner sees a number of things come down to her that need to be revised, then we take that up. So please understand that these are not immutable things that can't be changed at some point if there's a need to. So we need a vote, okay?
Aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, commissioners. We have no new business tonight on my agenda that we approved earlier. There are some discussion items, but I'm going to comment on those primarily because the meetings that had been planned to discuss those and move them forward have been canceled. As a result, I don't believe there's any discussion on any of those items tonight. That being the case, are there any items that we need to have for our June meeting? For our agenda? Sri, is there anything that you'll be bringing forward for that?
Nothing, but if you guys want to discuss small scale, I will be here. That's something you want to wrap up? Or-
Yeah, I wouldn't mind if we can wrap it up while we can, put small sales on the whole business for June. Is there anything else that anybody is aware of?
But discussing the planning commission's meeting agendas, meeting schedule for the rest of the year.
Yeah,
Yes. I can do a summary of my observations I've been tagging.
okay,
Yeah,
thank you.
yeah.
Anything else for June? Seeing none, we have one more opportunity for public comment this evening. Does anybody have anything they'd like to add this time that they didn't mention earlier? Seeing none? Informational items, correspondence, and so forth.
I get shit thrown at me.
Is there anything that anybody would like to offer in their correspondence or comments at this point?
As I guess many of you are already aware, but June 20th, right after the next planning commission meeting, would be my last day with the township. I am planning on
I would like to take this opportunity to thank Sri for the outstanding work she's done for us. She has been an integral part of the planning commission, and I have had, you can put this in the minutes if you choose to, I've had a very difficult day. Having received a call this morning with that news. Sri and I and a number of people on this commission worked with her on zoning, special projects, rely on her guidance and expertise, her interface with the lawyers, and it'll be a great loss to this commission, and I believe to the community. So, even though I said earlier nobody clap, I'm about to. Thank you.
No, not right out. I wanted to say I've worked with many communities, if you haven't checked my resume, but I have definitely developed a more familiar bond with this planning commission especially, and I have enjoyed your passion, your commitment to getting to the bottom of the item so that you can do a good job with the amendments, the time with review teams. It's just been great and it's unique, and I think I would echo what George said, you guys are the best planning commission. Having said that, I still have one more meeting with you guys, and I'm gonna make the best of it. I have been always, making notes of when I come across something in the zoning ordinance, or when I come across a discussion with a resident or somebody calls. So I have a couple of things that just been like, making notes. I thought I'll just do an information dump on you guys. You can do whatever you want to with it moving forward. But you all have my cell phone number, so anytime,
We know where you live.
anytime. Yes, you all know where I live too.
Way to make it weird, Tom.
But it was a hard decision for me, as you might